You may have gotten rejected from Yale, but you know who didn't? Crypto. That's right. Yale CIO David Swensen is investing in 2 cryptocurrency dedicated funds. This caps off a remarkable week for crypto. Earlier this week, legendary financial advisor Ric Edelman became an investor and advisor for Bitwise, and TD Ameritrade announced that it was investing in a crypto exchange, ErisX. But despite all the good news, there was no rally for Bitcoin. Our next guest, however, says that this has been the best week for crypto all year, and things are about to get even better. Blockchain capital partner Spencer Bogart joins us now from San Francisco. Spencer, good to see you. How could this possibly have been the best week for crypto all year when we saw virtually no movement in Bitcoin?
Sure, I'd say it's a function of the market. I mean, look, towards the end of last year when we're in the peak of this bull market, bad news seemed to have no effect on the markets. And I'd say now we're seeing the other side of that, where we have a week of amazing news with TD, Ric Edelman, and Yale, and it has almost no effect on price. But what I think is important is that these are the important building blocks to leading more institutional capital into the space.
Would it have been more bullish? Wouldn't it have been more bullish if Swensen had actually invested in cryptocurrencies themselves as opposed to funds which invest in crypto-related businesses?
Absolutely. I definitely think that that's the next step that we'll start to see endowments take, is to go direct into the markets. But I think for now there's a lot of uncertainty about what will be the winners. And so it makes more sense to deploy to a fund. And plus, for a lot of them, they're not quite yet to deal with some of the service providers, some of the custodians and accountants that you would otherwise want to see with something like an endowment.
When you take a look at the price action, Spencer, what makes you think that the next catalyst, the next great headline is actually going to be a catalyst when we had 3 great ones this week and nothing happened? At what point do you say, you know what, maybe this trade's not working?
Sure. I mean, I think that, look, we're down about 70% from our highs. So I think that Bitcoin is close to bottoming, and so is the rest of the crypto market. So I think it's going to take a little bit of time, but each of these news items is a piece of kindle that we're going to throw onto a future crypto bonfire when we have the next bull market.
Hey, Spencer, it's Tim. So if you fell asleep for the last 6 months, you'd feel like nothing had happened in the liquidity or the traded markets. But how about a bonfire in the private markets? Give us some insight of what's going on in the VC world, because my guess is it's very different than what we see in the Bitcoin chart on a daily basis.
Sure. I mean, I'd say overall, the private markets are lacking the public crypto markets by just a couple of months. So when we started to see the public crypto prices come down, we started to see the valuations and the raise sizes on some of the private deals going on also come down. But it took a little bit of a lag. And I'd say that's still occurring today. And I'd expect for those to continue coming down over maybe the next 6 months or so.
All right. Spencer, thanks so much for your time. We do appreciate it. Spencer Bogart, Blockchain Capital. Always great to see you. Carter, I want to go to you on this chart.
I mean, it almost as though it stopped trading. I mean, literally, it's like flat as a board. I don't see anything particularly directional. Sometimes things are in equilibrium price. It doesn't look here and now as though there's any imminent weakness or strength.
It's just there.
It's buyers and sellers are matched off evenly.
Huh.
But I would argue that this is bullish for Bitcoin. I mean, ultimately, putting in this kind of a base with the kind of volatility we had, actually seeing some stability in the price. But it's really like it has held this level during some bad times. I would prefer to be half full on the glass there.
What's that saying that Luis Yamada likes to?
The longer the base, the higher in space.
Yeah. I don't know about the outer part, but
I think you can interpret that in many ways. By the way, I will.
I think that it refers to a long base on a chart, and it could break out.
And I would say,
is that the way you see this chart?
I would push back on Luis Yamada's Spinal Tap reference by saying, market doesn't give you a long time to sell the highs, or in this case, buy the lows. We've been at this level for quite some time. Leads me to believe there's one more washout to the downside.
And also, when Louise is talking about that, she's talking about huge long bases over a
multi-years, not 6 months.
No, but this is if you think about Bitcoin and its trading history and the volatility in that, this is an extraordinary period. I mean, even the guys that said, hey, we're still up year over year would point out that this lack of volatility is extraordinary.
Doesn't it matter in terms of examining past bases? I mean, shouldn't the base be relative to the asset class itself?
Sure, of course. And if you think about that precondition, it's a long, protracted decline. This is an instrument that's just still coming off of an epic high. Right? I mean, it's not a base.
There's not enough data there. There's not if you pull back to a longer term,
it's got still just blips off the high.
Right. Exactly.